please.
I'm off center again.
Yeah, there.
Gotta get out of the way to the chat.
Oops,
there we go.
We don't have any product placement. Then let me flip that around right there.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, no. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Yep.
A little bit, angle's a little bit lower than usual.
Yeah, look at that. Sorry. Camera's there. Screen's there.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I look that way. Yeah, nice.
That's why we keep looking off to the right.
And this side.
Yes.
The chat
There's
doesn't
the
pop
chat.
anywhere except there, so we can't look at it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to fix that. Actually, something like a low monitor there might be nicer.
That would fix. But like, have we mentioned like a third person like running this would also help?
That would also help too.
Can't pay at all.
A producer,
right?
yeah, right.
Can't pay. That's what I'm looking for.
We'll get a coffee.
Yeah.
You can have a coffee every time.
Can't pay at all. So yeah.
If you have a free lunch hour and you work near Kyobashi, yeah. All right. Hey, Miguel, how's it going?
Hi, everybody.
Nice. Yeah, Miguel and I were talking about. So you're basically going to have to give up your 5e addiction.
My 5e addiction. I love that. My 5e addiction.
In exchange for food because they're raising the price of books.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
So stop eating and just keep buying those.
I'm sorry.
Those
if
books.
your choice is between food and fucking 5e, and you choose food, you choose 5e.
Right. That's not.
That is a choice. You have made that choice, and enjoy chewing on those pages.
Yeah.
No, I did see that they raised the price of books, and I think I saw. Of course, everyone was kind of dunking on it a little bit, but I did see two good points where it's like, one, okay, this is going to help indie games.
Oh yeah,
right. The higher price is going to help indie games. Also, two, the price of manufacturing books or manufacturing in general is going up. So the fact that like the industry leader is having to raise prices. Sorry, everybody, get used to the fact that you're just going to have to pay more for these tomes. Right?
And they did since 2014. From their initial release, they didn't raise the prices. Like the books have been the same.
That's the thing, right? Like it's been the same price
Yeah.
point, which has kind of gotten people, I think, not in the habit, that's the wrong word, but accustomed people to books of that size and quality being that price.
Right.
And it's like, no, people, especially smaller companies, can't really do that.
Yeah,
so,
because they can't print the volume.
I mean, they're also probably doing it. WotC is doing it because they want to push everybody to digital.
Yeah, you're right.
So,
That's a thing I suspected too.
Yeah.
They're going to make it like, well, these are really nice books, and they could just kind of bump up the quality enough that it's like $100 a book, but it's kind of worth it. But you should be playing digital. Yeah, I mean, Games Workshop's
for 5.
yeah, Games Workshop's going to be there any minute now.
Yeah, well, that's GW, right?
Yeah, and they're printing in China, but so they also said too that with this new release, their revised 5e, whatever they're calling it, that they're going to have to stagger the release because they've already talked to their publishing partner. They said we can't do these 3 books at the same time in the volume that you want because they know what they're going to sell.
Well, I mean, again, okay, different company, different game, different situation. But towards the end of Netrunner, they were cranking packs out like nobody's business, and it was, as consumers were like, can't keep up. This is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, I mean, not that I'm going to buy them, but getting people accustomed to both a higher price and a less frantic release schedule.
Yeah, right.
Is that necessarily a bad thing? I don't think so.
That's true.
That's the nicest thing I'll say about 5e on WotC this episode, I promise.
Yeah, and they said they still have like 4 books to release before next year. Jeez, yeah, I don't know who's buying those. I think everybody.
Buys them. Like, okay, not everybody. All the 5e stands, right?
Yeah.
There is definitely that nerd/gamer need to collect everything, and
Right,
I'm not immune from it either.
Right.
Like I was just this morning, I was looking at Kickstarter for No Way Home. I think the Weird War 1 Trench Run. And I'm like, that looks pretty cool. Oh, here's a pledge level where you can just get everything that's printed. And I'm like,
right.
do I need this? Right? So definitely not immune from the mentality of wanting or having to collect everything that gets released.
Yeah, that's a game I'd really like to play, like at a physical table. That'd be great. I've even got the miniatures going too already. That would be fun.
Mixed feelings, because that skews pretty close to not actual history, but like there are still the countries and there's still everything, but it's just supernatural World War I, and I'm like, okay, mixed feelings, but yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of which, so that was the first thing. I won't bring it up on the regular cast, but this was something I was like, come the fuck on. You even brought this up about historical gaming last week. So Midwinter Minis, this guy that kind of came out of nowhere and now has the biggest 40K channel and doesn't even do, or I guess wargaming, but doesn't even like specifically do only Games Workshop.
Okay.
I think is a shill. I think is a paid shill because they did this weird thing where so basically the number 2 war game is Bold Action. It's Warlords Bold Action.
Okay.
So that's historical. Yeah, that's and well, they do a lot of different stuff, but mostly they're World War II historical.
Yep.
And so he did this thing, kind of, little subterfuge. Had the I don't know, his partner, his female collaborator or whatever. So we're going to look at the number 2 game and see why it can never be number 1. And so
I sense hostility here.
They got a couple of tanks. Like they're going to paint a Panzer and a Sherman tank. And I handed the Panzer over to my girl, and she said, "I want to paint Nazis." And so it was this whole. Then it became this whole thing.
Okay.
So is it okay? And it's not a Nazi army. If you go to the Warlord website, it's a German army. You're not painting Nazis. Most of the conscripted soldiers were not Nazis in the German army. So it's silly. And if you're going to say, okay, but even though those German soldiers are collaborators, state within a state, they're collaborators. There were Nazi collaborators
all across the world.
All over every country of the world had somebody that was like, these guys are going to win. And so it's nonsense. And it's just basically saying, okay, we're going to disqualify this game from even being a war game now because it's too problematic.
Wait. Okay.
So it was. It looked like a hit. It was like a hit job. This weird. He's got a huge channel now, huge reach. Has even poached producers from Games Workshop to work on his YouTube channel.
Okay.
So there's something going on. There's money being there's something going on. I smell something weird. And to do this big hit
if he approached you with a production job,
fuck off.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. No, because and it seems to happen. These like posh British guys that wherever their money comes from, and they have these really high quality channels. Like they get real like weird and political, and their stuff gets strange really fast. Like Shut Up and Sit Down did that too. They had really good kind of indie board game reviews, and then they got weird and political, and all of their stuff was just like draped in microaggression talk, and we can't play Infinity because those characters are too sexualized, and like they became real sensitive real fast. So yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so kind of reiterate your
I have based on that, couple thoughts. First, antagonism sells, right?
Oh yeah.
We're unfortunately in the era of clickbait where don't do this thing, right? Or like the 10 things that are ruining your models, or even just like because I follow some miniature painters and stuff on YouTube, and I've actually unfollowed people because it seems like a lot of their accounts are just those kind of clickbait titles, right? And I understand it gets you views, but after a while it just kind of gets annoying, right? So I wonder if that's something that's going on there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But like I've said before, for me personally, the farther something is from actual history, because real history fucking sucks, right? The farther something a game is from actual history, the more inclined I am to play it or look at it. And that extends even to like purchasing models. Like now that I'm slowly unboxing my stuff, I don't have any shelves, but I at least have a workspace, right? I'm unboxing like my Turnip and Sludge models and Perry Miniatures American Civil War. Like people have used those models for like great Turnip and Sludge conversions. I say, cool, I cannot bring myself to buy Civil War.
Right.
I don't even want to buy them, right? And I know Bolt Action or the Osprey games, it's like Normandy or something, where it's all kind of like card based. I've gone, wow, I really want to know what those mechanics are. Bolt Action, like I want to see how this game works. Don't want to fucking buy anything that's World War II, right? Even other card games where I'm like, wow, this is pretty interesting. Oh, it's someone's got to play the World War II Germans, and even though they're not Nazis, or even running Hex, right? Like back in the day, I was like, prior to the pandemic and all this stuff happening, like Nazis are the classic bad guy in like that era of pulp stuff. Now I'm like, yeah, I don't even really want to portray them. Or if they do, they're absolutely not sympathetic, and you do not lose points for just blowing them the fuck away, right? So like, I don't know the full story. Like I sympathize with his partner going, oh, kind of German army, even if they're not technically Nazis. I understand someone going, no, sorry, don't want to play that, right? And that's kept me off of a bunch of games, and I'm not gonna go so far as to like criticize people who want to play those games because, hey, historicals is a big thing. Like for a while, like I really wanted to play Axis and Allies, right?
Right.
There is that kind of, here's the situation, can I do better? Right. Or here's the situation, let's see if the outcome can be different, right? So I appreciate that, but for me personally, it's like, don't want anything to do with it. So,
I can understand the but you're reenacting like famous battles, so it's not like you're not running death camps, you're not vaporizing civilians with atomic bombs. You're like, and basically in the war it's not good or bad. You're just choosing a side and their position and their strength. So the thing that because everything we're doing, like wargaming owes everything to historical Napoleonics, specifically, and I mean basically even fantasy role play. It's all came from that group of interests, that kind of obsessive historical interest. So the thing that you can't dismiss or disqualify historical wargaming, because it's a good system. It's known quantities, so know the forces, the strength. It's not a masturbation fantasy about what war would be like with, against aliens with space nuns. I mean, that becomes
that actually makes me more interested, right?
that becomes, silly and nonsense when you compare it to like what you would do at a military academy or whatever study. So, and once you get past, so once the rules codify everything, so you're not arguing about, well, actually, I think that that you're not arguing the specific historical events and everything. You're just replaying with those forces to see, wow, that was a miraculous outcome, or wow, that should never have happened,
or things were different. Right?
Yeah, right.
Like, I remember one of the first war games I bought was a garage sale version of like Avalon's Hill Alexander, right, which is like Alexander versus the Persians, and it's the old hex and shit thing, and it's like. Never fucking played it because I was like 13 and I'm like, whoa, what the fuck, man? Right? Anyway, but like I absolutely, and looking at some Napoleonics for trying to develop my own war game, I absolutely understand the known quantity appeal. There was this, we can calculate kind of how many casualties like came out of, how much like supplies people need and all this stuff. And then like I said, the appeal of seeing if things play out the same way or if you can do different, I absolutely get it. But just like we were kind of talking last week with Games Workshop and kind of how, okay, after what point does your IP that attracts fascists, at what point do you have to go, maybe we should change this, right? And you can't change history, right?
Right, yeah.
So I absolutely understand that war fucking sucks, and we're not really, okay, your average person isn't really going to go, oh, I love war, right? I love this thing. I understand, right? But there are unfortunately real world factions that are going to attract certain people, right? We're we're going to be like, ooh, Dids and the Germans. And you're like, really, Chief? Really?
Yeah, and so, there will always be some agitator, some kid that's going to push it. It's like, oh, I can legitimately paint swastikas on everything now.
And I'm not like, you can't sanitize history, so I'm not suggesting that people play World War II historical war games without Germany, right? Not suggesting, right? But I'm not telling other people how to play. For me, the wider door for someone to go, oh, I can legitimately paste. I kind of don't want to be involved in a game that says, oh yeah, someone can play the Nazis in this, right? Like, and it doesn't even matter if the publisher is glorifying Nazis or not. Like, you have to, okay, if you're doing accurate history, you have to include them.
Right.
I just kind of I would never want to play a game where I could sit down from across the table and be like, oh yeah, you're playing Nazis, right? and then I just kind of don't want to do it.
Right.
So I think that's why if I was going to do historical stuff, it would be like Agincourt, War of the Roses. Again, like you kind of like push it far enough back where that's the other, like push it far enough back or far enough in the future where the descendants of the people who got fucked during the war are like they're not. I worded that very badly, right? We're still dealing with the fallout of like a whole bunch of stuff and playing a game that, how can I word this, right? I think people understand what I'm trying to say, right? The farther you get from the actual current effects of whatever time period, the more comfortable I am playing that game. That's why it's like, okay, like that's why I'm like turn up. Like, okay, it's vaguely Napoleonic, but it's just like so far in the fucked up apocalyptic future that that things don't resemble actual world. Like I would be much less interested in playing Turn Up because it's set in like Central Europe kind of like, if the country still existed. If it was still kind of like, here's England and here's France, I'd be like, nah, no, I'm kind of out. So I think that's why that No Way Home, I'm kind of like, oh, the countries still exist.
Right.
That kind of doesn't ruin the fantasy, but it grounds it a bit for me. And I'm like, there have been other Squarish War games that are like Weird War 2 or Weird War 1, Trench Warfare. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm like, oh, except you got this faction that is obviously from still whatever countries. I'm going to pass.
Yeah. So it was very suspicious, like that thing. And so the historical kind of wargaming community reacted to it, but not very eloquently. And it was, I mean, just like myself, not
yeah, exactly. Like I was eloquent during that 5-minute screed. Yeah,
posing a very good argument. But I just think that's illegitimate to be. Completely saying this is not valid. I mean, because as a whole company, that's their thing, and they're a modern.
I don't think you can say it's not valid.
Yeah,
it's a war game. It's one I don't particularly want to play, but you can't then go, no, I disagree. All of this verboten. Right.
Yeah, so I just don't like people with big platforms, big audiences, just pulling that stuff out of their ass because it's going to get clicks, because it's going to stir shit, and it's
we
just
talked
like
about it for how long?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
congratulations.
And it's just, right.
Yeah.
But I just don't like that. I don't know what the hell the intention is, and
get views.
So it could be to make money, and it could also be, hey, our number 2. If this guy does have friends in Games Workshop, that is a tactic. That's something that goes on, kind of payola. Because we'll talk a little bit about something happening like that in the board game community today. But stuff that's like, hey, you want to do like a video that's just like shitting all over our number 2, and make sure that no one's going to go near it. That listens to the sound of your voice.
That's kind of funny because I guess the parallel here is like in TTRPG spaces, like there's a subset of people who always complain about kind of like non-D&D players bashing D&D players or D&D the game, right? And that's because like talk only about your game and you get goddamn crickets.
Yeah,
right. Like you bash D&D, you at least get some fucking engagement and can capitalize on it, right?
Yeah.
But in this one, it's like if you're already kind of big and kind of well known, then I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you still need to do that to get eyes, or you've already kind of got the eyes?
Yeah, but just the engagement though, because you need to get people outside of who's already subscribed.
I'm going to say that's it,
yeah.
right? You got to get people that are outside, right? So kind of like the tactic of I'm going to go insult this other thing.
Yeah, pick a fight and see what happens.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I unsubscribed to that channel a long time ago. As soon as
unfollow, unsubscribe, block, out. Yeah.
Right. So feel free to do that to this channel because fuck that guy. But anyhow, and so that was the other thing I was surprised is a lot of people, and maybe because when they talk politics and stuff, because that the National Socialist word is thrown around a lot, for hate groups and things, and so people don't like to use it on YouTube. And this guy is just like bam, 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 bam. Like, wow, how is he getting away with that? How's that? It's like, okay, well, I guess because it's a game discussion and he's talking about a faction in a game, but at the same time, it's like, wow, he's obviously positioned himself well, but whatever. So I just wanted to bring that up because you mentioned that last week, and so I thought, let's talk a little bit historical wargaming. So should we get started for this week? All right.
We have lost a lot of viewers on that screen.
Yes, right. All right. So let's do this. Welcome to the Weekly. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Chris.
And this week on the Weekly, Tales of the Valiant hits Kickstarter.
Okay.
The Project Black Flag.
Oh, yeah.
Board game Blackmail. So an interesting situation. Warhammer Old World details, so some armies that are included, and then the Pathfinder Nexus is in open beta.
Oh, okay.
So Pathfinder's getting digitized. All right. Well, let's start with Brinkwatch. Brinkwatch 2023. So it's day 125.
Jeez. I call it. We're gonna get up to day 365.
Yeah. Right? I think we will. It's gonna be a year. So Kyle Brink has not yet resigned from his executive producer position at Wizards of the Coast, where he claims that white people should be leaving the hobby. White men like himself should be leaving the hobby.
Lead by example,
yes,
Kyle.
Yes, we'll follow you. We'll follow you the hell away from that hobby. All right. But an interesting quote from Kyle. So I think there was they're doing a little bit of press now, and Kyle was saying, as you can, I forget, what was my Kyle was, as you can imagine, I had an interesting January. I'm glad it ended where we are, but I wish we had gotten there in a less painful way. So they are admitting the brutal the brutal beating they took.
You know how I'm imagining that guy from the fucking Big Lebowski, right? Like a cowboy hat,
right,
like
right. Sam. What's his name?
Yeah. This does not match at all.
Oh, he's quite a significant fellow. Yeah, so they talked about that, and they're admitting, but they're not admitting mistakes. It's just like, well, this is where we always wanted to be, and it's very, very dishonest. So we heard loud and clear from the partners. We need to support. We need their support after the anger around the OGL. It did some damage to the trust, and but basically saying, and this is the non-apology kind of thing of it is, it has not changed at all. Our daily thing that we're doing at Wizards with D&D, like it doesn't change anything we do. So
we're sorry about it, but we're not sorry enough to change.
Not sorry enough to actually affect anything. Yeah. So it's not going to be any different. So thanks, Kyle. We'll keep watching.
Thanks, Kyle. Yeah. All right.
All right. So we'll start off with Kobold Press. So yes, and so this is interesting. So 3.5, the end of that, Dungeons and Dragons 4.0, that kind of fumble that created Paizo. They're not willing. They don't want to make that same mistake again. Right. So instead, they're saying it's still 5.0. It's still it's still 5th edition. But now they're going to have every flavor of 5th edition. Other companies are going to make their favorite version of 5th edition because they put it in Creative Commons. Right. So we're going to have, under Orc and all of these companies that are kind of pledged to that, we're going to have, a rainbow, basically, of 5th edition, like every kind of version. So more heroic, less heroic, more deadly. Every company is going to have their own version of this now. So instead of creating like a single competitor that's keeping this older tradition, it's like, well, yeah, let's see what you do with 5e, but we can do modified 5e too now. I'm trying
to collect my thoughts with regards to that, with regards to how like the OSR functions. Because you could like, okay, as a community or as producers, right? The OSR is kind of the same thing, right? Like the rule set is maybe not exactly under Creative Commons, but like old enough where they're like multiple versions of basically the same thing, and each one is kind of, here's our take on this kind of classic rule set. And I was trying to think about what's different between that, and maybe my difference in feeling is kind of like IP and Creative Commons, right? Where you buy some kind of like OSR thing, like Dungeon Crawl Classics or Sword and Wizardry or White Hack, I think. Like, I'm like, who benefits apart from the company you kind of directly bought it from, or maybe like the whatever retailer you bought it from, right? Whereas like, okay, if everyone has like is like making iterations on the 5e SRD, WotC's still around. Isn't one D&D is going to be compatible? Well, actually, we don't know, right? But they're touting that one D&D is not an edition, right? So I'm kind of more skeptical and look upon the 5e SRD thing much more poorly than I do the OSR because I see it as still benefiting.
Right. You can still go back.
You can kind of still go back to WotC, right? Like it's kind of like exactly what the OGL was designed by its creator to do. Create a walled garden where everything worked on our system, so that like, sure, come on in. Oh, we've got you now. Look at all these fun games we've got, right? There's no reason to go outside, right? So I'm kind of seeing. I'm kind of seeing the same thing happening, and I guess I can't really blame the companies because it's the most popular role-playing game in the world. Not using it is basically leaving money on the table. Right.
So and with companies that were already doing third-party support for it, to be able now to do their own thing and say, this is our system, and our setting now. So that's interesting. So Kobold Press is one of those that's making their version of 5e. So they're doing D&D 5e with teeth, they say in quotes. So they're trying to do epic but challenging, and they are making the characters. So I guess Tales of the Valiant is a good kind of epic title because the characters start out very overpowered. You're going to have a stat like over 16 guaranteed, and so you're going to be brutal.
Okay,
you can't wait to get at that.
I can't wait to get at it. My thought is like, okay, I don't know. Certain people like playing certain games. I do not like looking at a 5-page character sheet. That's all these mechanical doodads and widgets. I'm just like, if high powered means 20 extra mechanical doodads, I'm just like, I don't care.
Right.
I don't care, right?
Yeah.
And if it's challenging but with teeth, if difficulty scales at the same thing as the characters, then is that more difficult?
Right. Bigger numbers.
You've got to hit a 35, but you get a plus 20 bonus. What the fuck is the point, right? Anyway, sorry.
Yes, but they promise it's going to be fully compatible with D&D books. So that's going to be an interesting thing. Is it's going to be a lot of people trying to lure you. What do you like about 5e? Okay, that's what we do. And so you can still use your Spelljammer book or whatever relics from the 5e run that you want, but so we'll see.
And again, that's not bad, right? That's what you got to do to diversify. Okay, we're all kind of using this thing. We're all going to do a little bit differently. We'll find out. It seems like this is the era of companies, if they didn't already have one, finding their niche of the 5e flavor.
Right. Yeah, this is the way. Yeah, and a lot of it, it's probably just going to be based on homebrew from what they like to play in their game groups, is what a lot of stuff is.
Or maybe they'll crowdsource it fucking back.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's another thing too.
Then you'll end up with the same mishmash that 5e was anyway.
Yeah,
anyway.
Well, we have our elves do this and their elves do that. So
after numerous months of crowdsourcing, we're right back at the beginning because
right. Everyone's sitting there. Yeah, Watsy's playtest. It's like, oh, they really screwed over dwarves. We're going to take advantage. We're going to do an all.
What do you want to see in dwarves? Oh, the exact same thing that's in it.
Yeah, anyway. Right. Yes. So as early as summer last year, they started Black Flag, the development of Black Flag. And so some quotes from to Celeste Konowich, who is the lead designer for Tales of the Valiant. So we want to make sure that 5e stays playable on people's tables. We're giving it a fresh coat of paint. And basically, they're known for their tome of beasts that they release. So that's basically what's coming out is 2 books. It's going to be a player's guide and then a monster vault. Okay. So 2 pretty chunky books, and they're doing kind of the typical thing where they're doing more deluxe versions, a couple of deluxe versions, a slipcase version of these 2 books, and they're doing 13 classes, a big variety of lineages and heritages, which is the terminology they came up with, and they're just trying to do, they're looking at things that mechanically are in 5e, but just people either don't use them, like backgrounds or things that just aren't very useful, and trying to come up with a better way to do it. They're making spell casting cooler. Okay, that's more ice spells, I suppose.
Okay.
And the full text won't be ready until April of next year for their rules. So they're doing it a bit ahead. They're crowdfunding a bit ahead of time. But you're going to get play testing and stuff. You're going to be in on it. But already $500,000. So just they funded instantly, and already this project.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. So until June 23rd, you can back Tales of the Valiant if you like what Kobold Press does. And it's I think it's going to be aesthetic choices as well, like how they present their materials and stuff, the artisan things that they use. I think that flavors, that's a thing, people either love or hate, Paizo's kind of artistic aesthetic and the main artist that they use.
Chunky, cartoony style. Yeah.
Right. So that's going to push people different ways too. So all of this stuff is going to and so we're going to have this weird division. Everyone's going to be kind of playing the same game, but they're using different words and still rolling d20s, various amounts of d20s. So 300 page. The player's handbook is going to be 300 pages.
It's like I don't know, 270 pages too long.
Right. So most of that is spells probably, but So and this is under the Orc license, of course. We know. This is the thing that Paizo initiated. So we'll see if there's going to be a series of these of kind of successful iterations on 5e. But is that going to take away? I mean, if Wizards executes well on their whole digital plan, people are not going to probably make very big inroads, especially if if you're going to be having to pay $100 to get there, to buy in to anybody else's version of the game and then talk all your players into it and everything. So we'll see. But there's money out there, and Knave, so another an indie second edition of Knave, funded over $500,000, and that's a single. I mean, I'm sure he's got a company and he's
Yeah, yeah.
there's a team working on it, but that's a single designer. So there is some hunger out there for backing, for crowdfunding.
I think I'd have to go look at Knave because I definitely have Knave 1E, but I didn't read it like super duper closely. But I think that's the success there is like word of mouth and like putting out a product, right, and being like, okay,
Yeah, he's got a big social media
Yeah,
presence, and in the designer community. So so we'll see, and it's going to be people are right now. Everyone's going to be cashing in kind of on their reputation as a third-party developer for Fabi. You played our stuff, right? Well, here's our thing, and
you know what?
Support us.
You know what I would, and it's not going to happen. But you know what I would like to see? One of those third-party companies going, you liked our third-party D&D stuff, right? You know we can write good stuff. You're a valuable, loyal customer. Well, here's our new game. Right? Doesn't use a fucking 5e game,
Yes,
right? Here's a completely brand new game.
Yes.
And it's not going to happen. We trust that you trust us enough based on past material to check our game out.
Yeah.
It's unfortunately not going to happen,
Right.
because what is painfully evident is that there's people who are just not going to drop D&D, regardless of what WotC does. There's people who will drop D&D, but not really.
Yeah.
As long as the WotC or Hasbro isn't on it, they'll play it, right? Which is what a lot of again, I can't blame them. What a lot of third-party publishers are going to capitalize on, right? Great, you love D&D, but you don't want to support WotC. Well, here's our 5e not D&D, right?
Right.
So,
I'm not playing D&D.
Yep.
It's mechanically exactly the same, but I'm not playing D&D.
Yeah.
So do you think that this ridiculous OGL they tried to force down people's throats and failed to do you think this is a second best option, having an SRD in Creative Commons and then having people go, oh, okay, well, we're going to keep supporting this because now we have access to these mechanics, and so this was like it's not as good as an OGL, but it still is keeping the system.
Well, someone who doesn't think an OGL is actually necessary.
Yeah, right, right.
And as someone whose ultimate goal is to see the 1,000-pound gorilla just topple off their perch, it's the same, right?
Yeah. No, but I think that they're still going to benefit. Yeah, they're benefiting from this. People are looking at, oh, we won, we got.
And that's it. Okay, and I've prolonged this discussion, but like it's been a while. But like whenever I tweeted about the OGL, like the number of. It felt like there were a large percent of people who go, well, WotC backed down. WotC did what we wanted. So, okay, we're going back. And I'm just like, okay, fuck, dude, right? Like, yeah, there's a large percentage of people who made a big stink and said, yeah, we won, right? And then are going back to D&D like nothing fucking happened, right?
Right.
And a couple of people have said, like, okay, let's think this through. Like, the company that tried to fuck you over before, gee, they're not going to do it again, right?
There wasn't a mass firing at the executive level. Those people are still in place that had that stupid idea.
Yeah, they're just like, let's be a bit sneakier about it next time, right?
Yeah, why were we so obvious? Come on, guys. Put that business school teaching to work for you. All right, so let's move over to the dark side of board games.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, so Quackalope, a YouTube channel that reviews board games, allegedly blackmailed a developer. So this is a kind of a weird story. And the article, I think this is from from Polygon, maybe. So they're going through the whole case of kind of covering this and presenting. So I'll link to this article so that you can actually read the posts and everything. So what really got things started was a Kickstarter post. But initially, so a YouTube board game channel was already in the process of being very perplexed by a game and trying to make content for it, and had a review kind of in the can ready to go that was going to be titled "The Horrible Truth of Aeon Trespass Odyssey," the worst game they've ever played is what they called it. And so they contacted Into the Unknown, the company that makes the game, and asked them if they would like to pay for some videos, if they would like to sponsor some videos. So, that's a thing that does go on is people got a new game coming on, well, we'll pay you to review it, and, hopefully you won't hate it because we're paying you.
Right. I'm sure in those cases, like, we'll pay you to review.
Yeah, right. Just talk nice about it. Yeah. And so for their promotional services, they initially offered them 5 videos for $7,500. Which is a big discount from their usual $2,500 per video. And so they corresponded back and forth. It kind of slowly went on and into the unknown. Said that price is not great. And they said, well, we can. Why don't you send somebody, to our studios and we'll collaborate. We'll do, we'll introduce your game, have someone. And they're like, we're not in a position to fly somebody to where you are to do YouTube videos. So they're kind of going back and forth. And then it basically came down to, okay, well, we already reviewed your game. We've got a video ready to go. If you're not going to pay us to do something, we're releasing the one that trashes your game. So what's it going to be? So they kind of use this as saying, as pressure. We'll, if you pay us, we'll take a look at your game. If you don't pay us, we're putting out the bad review.
Not the way the Blackmail I expected to go. But
yeah. Yep. And so people were calling them fraudsters, fake reviewers, and this was like a mafia type deal. And it came from so they offered collaborations. So there's like we just can't do these sorts of things. So they would be willing to change their content if they were sponsored, but
wow.
It turns out that
you know what I'm picking up here?
What?
We should adopt this tactic.
Oh yeah, exactly. So if
hey Watsy, right. You listening to this, Watsy, right? Yes. I will retract every negative statement I have ever said about D&D, maybe, right? For some lucrative kind of deal,
right.
This
That's
way,
exactly.
right? And this is not me breaking character. I've episodes ago I said we will gladly shill for stuff, right? Anyway, the difference is I'll be honest about it.
Yeah,
right?
we'll be open shills. Yes.
Yeah.
We'll be open. Yes. So it's this is really really nonsense. But the weird thing that came up is then the guy that's running the Quackalope channel gave these said, okay, well this correspondence is out there and it does make us look bad, but I was sick and I was getting married and there's all this stuff, and so there's all these excuses. So as soon as you start pulling out this like personal problems, personal schedule stuff, it's like you're covering something up. Yep. So on June 12th, they are going to be doing a live stream and explain everything. Oh, geez. And so they're just going to try to, say it's just a sponsorship gone bad. And but the fact that they would kind of dangle, we have this bad review. We can delete this for a price.
I've only been exposed to the details of this from what you just said.
Yes.
But that with kind of like my joke before about like being an honest shill, like I don't know, that is. If that's what happened, then the personal problems route, even if it's true, is they're shit excuses. Right?
Yeah, right.
Like I think at that point, like, okay, not a lot changes in Japanese business except like whoever is responsible does that giant bow, steps down, gets a golden fucking parachute, and it's the optics of change, right? Like, I don't know, man. Like at least like come out and say, you know what? Sorry, right? Like we wanted money, right? Who doesn't want money? Like at least be honest about your excuse. And I'm not saying those getting sick, getting married. I'm not saying those personal problems did or did not happen. I'm just saying if that's like kind of like your sole excuse, it's kind of not great.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll take a look at this live stream in June.
Will we?
And see what they say. Yeah, so not naming any names except for the companies. I won't drag anybody else that's involved in this. But if you're interested in this, I'll post the article that has the links to all the actual correspondence and the comments and people's reactions. So it didn't really get started until the comment on the Kickstarter about this weird situation. And the game itself has already received a 9.3 rating on Boardgame Geek. So it's not a bad game. Like many people have reviewed it positively. Some of them may have been paid, but many people have been reviewed positively. So it's not an overwhelmingly bad game. So to put out or to threaten to put out something like that's
well, maybe that's why.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe
it's going to bring down. Yeah,
like here's a super popular game, and like we'll get. I don't know. It kind of seems like you had like a vendetta against them, or just like, or you just wanted money, right?
Yeah. It was odd. Yeah, and saying, then they say they spent a lot of time, like 50 hours or something, with the game, and couldn't figure out the rules very well and stuff. And
you know what? Like, I think if that's what happened, then I would say by all means put out a video, right? Because like, here's this very seemingly well acclaimed game, right? And like. Be the counter voice, right? Like that would get you views, that would get you attention. Okay, like we honestly tried this game, right?
In our experience.
50 hours, as long as we couldn't figure it out, right? If that's the case, and I'm not saying it is, but it's like, here's why we didn't like this game that everyone seems to fucking love, right?
Right.
No idea where the blackmail came into that. But.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. So not illness. So there was no claim of illness.
Okay,
there was claim of iPad. So
iPad?
I only had an iPad to correspond with, and I was getting married, and I'm traveling wherever you are. So okay,
that's even worse.
Whatever.
That's even worse.
Yeah.
At least you could have written off at like cold medicine high or something, right? No.
It was just an iPad. I was typing on a damn iPad.
Yeah, sure.
So so that's not good. And there's a lot of that stuff going on, and I suspect the Games Workshop has got something to do.
You're blowing our sponsorship.
Oh, sorry. I'm
deal.
sorry. Well, I would prefer a sponsorship from Warlord, but yeah.
Oh yeah, all right.
But anyhow, speaking of Games Workshop and their sad attempt to revive something that they shouldn't have killed in the first place, we have some.
Tell us how you really feel.
We have some details about Warhammer the Old World. So they're limiting things to their core classic factions.
Okay.
But basically, yeah, we'll see why though.
Yep.
So the armies that they announced that are going to be supported get new miniatures and have full rules and lore.
New miniatures, okay.
Yeah, and new lore. Yeah, they released for their big event. They released 2 miniatures, like a single Bretonnian and a single Tomb King's miniature. It's like, okay, so wait, what? What's going on here? So Empire of Men, Dwarf and Mountain Holds, Kingdom of Bretonia, Wood Elf Realms, High Elf Realms, Orc and Goblin Tribes, Warriors of Chaos, Beastmen, Bray Herds, and the Tomb Kings of Camry. Yes, Camry.
9. Okay. Yep.
So 9 factions. So and the rest that aren't going to be supported, they're going to do that thing where they just like puke out some stat lines and throw you a free PDF and say your army's still valid, enjoy. Which is bullshit. They've done that every time they make a rule change. They do that to appease people, where they destroy their armies.
And then by the time they get to the end of the list, it's like, well, we're on 2 editions past whatever that was.
Right. So they're not including in this narrative and in this like first version of this dark elves.
Automatically uninterested. I don't care. Where am I repeating crossbows?
Right. Yes, exactly. Skaven, Chaos Dwarves, Vampire Counts, Chaos Demons, Lizard Men, and Ogre Kingdoms.
Again, no Lizard Kingdoms. Don't care.
So, but the thing that makes that pretty obvious from that list is they just don't want you using Age of Sigmar models in in the Old World.
I saw something along those basic lines, or it was either like, we don't want you using those models in this game, or we don't want to put out a miniatures line for these armies to bite into sales from like the newly released, like, what the fuck are they, like Seraphadons or whatever? Anyway, I don't know.
So they did do like a new kind of a refresh of that that range, and they don't want you using them. So, and it's strange too, because they teased, the first thing they teased when they said we're bringing back Old World is they teased Kislev and Grand Cathay, and those, they're nowhere to be found. Maybe they're going to be in the Empires of Man, but nothing so far. So it's very strange, and they just said, well, it's not in the story. We chose to put the narrative here. They're just not active yet. They're doing their own things. But if Skaven aren't in the Old World, then it's not quite the Old World.
They're just real deep underground. No one
they're just
not.
I'm sorry, there is no such thing as rat-shaped men. There is no such thing. But if there were,
I don't know. I mean, I'm not Games Workshop, right? If I was Games Workshop, I'd probably blow a bunch of stuff. But like, this kind of, that conspiracy or that thought process kind of supports the idea that Games Workshop is very much a miniatures company that is, the rules are secondary. Right. Like, and I'm sure that's where they make their money, right? It's got to be, I mean, despite the price of the books, right? Like, you buy one book and then you can kind of play. It's kind of the same thing as like TTRPGs. But I really have to wonder if this is a good move, right? Like, wouldn't allowing people to use Age of Sigmar models to play Old World, I mean, the aesthetics, I have to imagine, are kind of different, right? Because in Age of Sigmar you're on round bases, and in Warhammer Fantasy you're going to be on the square bases to like flank stuff up or rank stuff up. But like, why, right? Like, wouldn't, if I was doing this, I'd be like, cool, play Old World with your Age of Sigmar models. Don't you think that would like encourage people to go, oh yeah, this is pretty cool, you know what, I'll buy some more and put them on square bases to properly play this game, or you know what, I enjoyed playing this game, what other factions you got for it, I'll start doing that too. I don't know, it just seems real in character, but real hard ass to say, no, we're not doing this because we don't want you to mix these models or do stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, and their talk about, when they killed the Old World, their early talk about, well, we had the Lord of the Rings rights and we had Old World Fantasy, and they're very similar, and they're hurting each other, and so we refreshed and got rid of.
I kind of wonder how much overlap there was there.
Yeah, I don't. Probably not a lot. And now they're going to have three. Now they're going to have three fantasy lines. Three different games, fantasy lines, and then now they have Plastic Horse Heresy. So they've got something competing with 40K. Now they've got something competing with Age of Sigmar, and they're trying to keep them separate. Like they're trying to say you're this player and you're this player. So I don't know.
But does it?
And if they do the thing that they're starting to ruin their games by doing this weird thing with the rules where they're doing seasons, and it's like, so in this season here's the narrative, and you follow it up to here and buy because there's rules in here, so you got to buy this, and so they're gonna crank out these books that you have to buy to be up on the latest stat lines and everything, and or even how to run the game. So if they do that, then it's going to be completely useless.
I kind of I haven't looked into exactly what seasons entail. I heard a little bit of this, but okay. If done not correctly, if done differently, I tend to think seasons would be a good way to balance and fine-tune competitive play.
To regulate. Because they're doing that for Necromunda now. They're making it very okay, and they're playing up to this point, and now here's the new narrative. We're unlocking new factions, and Well,
it's kind of like banned and restricted list when it was Netrunner, right? Because that's the last competitive game I kind of played. But it's okay, we're playing tournaments where this army is dominating. This thing's kind of overpowered, whatever. Next season, we've updated it a bit, right? To try and, if the goal of seasons is to continually balance things, then as long as, it's Games Workshop, right? So I was gonna say, as long as people don't open up the new season book and go, cool, my army is fucking gone, right? Which always happens. As long as this stat, this unit, there's less models in it, or this thing has a slightly different, if it was that minor stuff that didn't completely invalidate an army, I tend to think seasons would be a good way to maintain the health of competitive play, right?
Yeah. I think they don't handle it well, and you can't clearly play. Okay, so we're not gonna let's back up a little bit and let's just play in last year's version of this. And no, you got to play the latest rules.
Yeah, I mean, again, but getting way back at the beginning of the episode to gamers like to collect stuff, right? And
that's true. Yeah.
Even though we weren't actually playing in any kind of official tournament, here our little Netrunner meta was always say, let's always try and play keep up with the latest banned and restricted list. So, if you're playing at home, use whatever you want, or use the seasons, right? And I don't know. I know Games Workshop is releasing seasons as a way to push the latest models.
Yeah, definitely, and keep just being able to keep putting new stuff on the table. You have to have this now because there's cool rules for this.
Or you have to have this because the thing that it replaced doesn't work anymore,
right. But we can completely ignore this release with no Skaven, no Lizardmen. I could care less. We have Argatoria. So Spellcrow has hooked us up. So we're going to be playing 10mm vicious fantasy battles.
Yes.
And so enjoying a system from a company that is completely removed from that, but still has that the fun spirit of kind of the original craziness of Old World fantasy, but more savage.
The website I looked at, and I think I even sent the line message to you, I'm like, it looks like a 90s era White Dwarf.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So you can tell that's where their hearts are, and that's what they're trying to create. And so I think they're doing fun. And we received free models. We received a free book, and we're going to be freely playing and enjoying. So we'll
that
have.
Doesn't
more.
mean I'm not going to be honest though.
Yeah, right. No, definitely. And that's the thing that I really want to kind of rely, because we've been doing so many ranked war games now. So we will have a good perspective because we did War Master, now Oathmark, and now this.
I got feelings on War Master, especially playing Undead.
Yeah, right. And this will be a nice contrast to this, and we'll see the things that they chose to do, how their multiple activations work and things. We'll see how that. What that does to make it to kind of change the feel of the game. So I can't wait to
once the rules for Hobgoblin come out, we'll have that too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, jeez, that's right.
Yep, it's a lot. It's a lot. I'm much more. Bye, ambulance. I'm much more not lenient, but not open is the wrong word as well. If I had lost that second game of Oathmark, If I'd lost, like, no lie, if I'd gotten massacred as bad as I did right in that first game, I'd have been like, all right, let's play something else.
Yeah, well, Osprey contacted me and they said, come on, you got to give Chris some breathing room here.
One model. I left that first game with one fucking model. And included how many casualties? Like 2, right?
Right.
But yeah, still very much learning how to use elves.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think I think the way we're approaching that is really fun though too, because kind of gradually getting into it. Like if we would have jumped, I think it would have been a really rough game if we both jumped into like a 2,000, like 1,000 or 2,000 points of Oathmark. Just like, okay, well,
wow, yeah.
But
I mean, like the rules are straightforward, but we're playing 1,000 points next, and it's like that narrative kind of not helps, but you're just like, okay, the escalation league helps, and I think we got to do the aftermath of the that last game.
Yeah.
I think I get to expel you from a territory now.
Yeah. Either add something to.
That's right.
You add something to your 5th.
Yeah.
I think so. You get a new territory in that blank space. Yeah. So coming soon. Yes.
Yeah.
So look for that and more. So I'm going to do like a cleaning and prepping video for the resin models.
Because of resin. For
Velcro.
Ibertor,
Yeah. So we get to see that. I mean, there's a ton of stuff out there about resin, but it's good. Resin in 10 millimeter, I think, is a little bit different from what a lot of people are used to dealing with.
Right.
All right, and one last thing I'd like to mention. So Pathfinder is going digital. So we mentioned that this was going to be happening, and it's finally in open beta. So the Pathfinder Nexus, which is the kind of digital platform that's going to be similar. It's not as feature rich and kind of usable as the D&D Beyond, whatever the whatever the D&D platform is using that they purchased outright. That Hasbro purchased.
Oh, D&D Beyond. Then.
Yeah, Beyond. Yeah, it's not quite there yet. But this Pathfinder Nexus will be close. Yeah, and it's Demiplane is the company that's doing it. They already do these digital platform and kind of tool sets for Vampire the Masquerade, the Avatar Legends game, Alien RPG, and the upcoming Marvel Multiverse RPG. Okay. So it's a pretty slick looking presentation. It looks like they're going to do good stuff, and they're trying hard because the difficulty with these platforms is, okay, I already have the book. I got to buy the book again. Right. So they're offering some different ways around that. A free account will give you 7 discrete characters, and if you purchase the book from Paizo, you'll get a discount for purchasing the book in the platform. Okay. And if you've purchased it anywhere else, there'll be some ways to discount what's going on. And then there is also going to be, so all books purchased on their website will be awarded so if you purchase from Demiplane, it's not locked into in the Pathfinder, it's not locked into only on Demiplane. They're going to give you a coupon or a code for the PDF from Paizo.
Okay.
So instead of it just being like, like only with Roll20, like kind of Roll20 stuff, it's like you're only using this in here. It doesn't come out. It doesn't do anything else. They're going to give you both a digital a PDF you can do whatever you want with, and also the rules within the game.
Okay. Yeah.
So we will hope that this helps Paizo stay connected and stay competitive. Pathfinder stays competitive with whatever they're going to end up doing at that platform at Wizards. But open beta is available, so you can go ahead and sign up and see what it looks like. And it's just, I think it comes down to taste and functionality too. Yep. So people have different aesthetics. So full release will be eventual, but not. This is still open beta. It was closed beta, previous. All right. So yeah, and there's also a Starfinder. So a humble bundle for Starfinder has a really great of all their latest adventure paths, plus 2 physical. The starter box, which I think is right here. So the physical starter box, and I think they're Alien Archive number 2 physical books involved in this bundle. So it's like $30 for a couple of physical things, and then a huge selection of the all the Starfinder books and adventure paths. So I'll put a link to that as well. So Starfinder is another thing. I'm sure that's going to show up on with Demiplane on the Nexus as well. All right, that'll do it for this week.
Yeah.
So where can people find you?
On Twitter, where I'm ranting about stuff, and Instagram as well, where I'm posting more photos of miniatures, and latest was the 10 Oathmark Elf Rangers I put together last night. Wow. Cool. So that's Hivemind, HYVEMYND on both social medias until Elon starts implanting chips in people's brain and everything. And then I'm just out, right? Done. Right. Anyway.
Nice.
How about you?
So I'm doing my single panel gag cartoon, which didn't happen this week. So I apologize. My schedule, it was, by the time I got home to be able to stream, it was so late. I'm like, no, nobody's awake. I'm going to be talking exclusively to Australia. So I'm going to do it. So I'm going to switch over to Tuesday. So it's going to be Monday nights North American time from now on, just so there's no overlap with scheduling. So Abuse Cartoons on YouTube and Twitch, Abuse Cartoons on social media, and if you want to read the cartoon, gocomics.com/domestic abuse. And if you like what we're doing here with the weekly, please visit upturntable.com, where you can see all of the episodes and everything else that we're doing. The channel on YouTube and Twitch is Upturned Table. And if you'd like to tell us what to do next and give us some input, consider becoming a weekling.
That's Upturned Table, where you can become the strongest of all supporters.
Yes, at patreon.com/upturnedtable. And then give us some feedback and let us know what you'd like to see. We've already got patrons on there like Matt that you just drop us little links and things and say, take a look at this. Can you believe what's going on with these guys? And that's been a really fun way to keep the show very active and kind of participating with the patrons. So consider that. And otherwise, we'll be back again next week.
Yep. Later, mortals.
Goodbye. All right. Hey, everyone. Thanks for hanging in there. So, Abyss, oh, good to see you. So, Miguel and Abyss. And is that, did I see Felix? Hey, Felix, how's it going? Good to see you guys. Nice. Miguel's working on some new BattleTech. Yeah, BattleTech lenses. Nice, nice. Oh, no. Miguel must be ill. Totally agreeing with Chris's point of view. Oh, no. Is that the historical wargaming stuff? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's funny. Nice. So at least Abyss, yeah. Abyss agrees with me. Midwinter is a soft and weak man. Thanks. Yeah, yeah. So he got so much heat for that clip and deserved it. Oh, hey, K5, nice. You have been with us for a long time. Thank you so much. Where is that? There we go. 17 months. Wow, you're gonna be. I'm gonna be making new badges soon. To follow through with all that membership. Thanks so much. Nice. Oh, so where was I? Yeah. It's crazy. Oh, so Miguel has a Imperial Japanese fleet. Wow, and a U.S. Navy fleet too. Oh, wow. Very cool. You're a war criminal, Mr. Miguel. Nice. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, what game is that? World War II fleet. That's cool. Yeah, Warlord does some really great stuff, and their rule sets are so good that other people are like licensing them and using them. That's what Mantic used. They use their Black Seas or whatever for their Armada game and stuff. So yeah, they do good systems and decent miniatures too. Oh, that's right. FromSoft's new mech game. Yeah, that's right. They've got that weird. It's the weird setting for. They're new. I've been seeing trailers. So yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Critical Role is jumping ship from 5e too. But I bet if their system is using the SRD as well. Yeah, but maybe like mechanics for them don't really matter so much. So I wonder if they're going to actually write a system that just makes it easier to do their kind of performance actual play. That's funny. Oh, Felix agrees. The iPad thing sounds totally legit. Yeah, emailing and everything on an iPad sucks. So you could get 200 times the Bretonnians and make a nice looking army. Yes, yes. Nice. So I love the Old World Warhammer, says Abyss, aesthetic so much, but it doesn't sell well compared to the big shiny Stormcast. Yeah, that kind of like, World of Warcraft aesthetic that they chose with Age of Sigmar, everything being, kind of overdone and weirdly stylized. It's not gritty and it's not like as grimdark and ugly as the Old World. So that's a shame. And now that they're going to have 3 fantasy, it just doesn't. It's odd what they're doing. And Felix said not only new models, but they rotate what's relevant, like the monster season. Yeah. So infantry season, hero season. So basically you need to change around 50% of your army to stay relevant. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, no Skaven. That was really, I think because they've handled Skaven pretty thoroughly, like all the clans and everything are in Age of Sigmar, so they don't want you to take Skaven out. You don't want you using those models. I think that's a really weird thing to do. We'll give you if you still have them on square bases, your previous fantasy army, will give you this lame PDF to play casually, but they're not going to be legitimate armies. Yes. And Felix said, so not only new models. Oh yeah. So the sessions. Yeah. No Skaven. I would love to hear. Oh, your favorite war games at the moment. Yeah. So we're really enjoying doing that kind of escalation thing with Oathmark. That's been really fun, and I'm trying to think of what else I've been looking at or trying to get people to play. I've got to get back to Infinity. Nick is a big Infinity player and painter, and we've played some of their board games and stuff together. But we've actually got to get back to a game of Infinity. I really like how that plays. I don't. Especially this latest edition of it, I don't have all of the rules, but they do such a good job of with giving you digital tools and stuff and being able to look stuff up and everything. But I'm a little bit behind in what would make a good, good army, and everything that I have is kind of last version, so we'll see. But yeah, I've been really digging Oathmark for some reason. Just the fantasy stuff, been really liking for some reason. And so the next thing we're going to play is we'll have the next Oathmark, but I think between then we'll probably be able to have some small matches, because we've got just the starter armies for the Argatoria, the Spellcrow, fantasy kind of vicious fantasy battle. So we've got a Lizardman and a Barbarian starter army for those, and they've got really great. I mean, even 10mm, they're the kind of behemoth models are excellent. They're big beasts and stuff, look really good. So we'll be doing some videos about prepping those. And then we'll do kind of a learning game and go over the rules, and then have a couple of different sessions of those, because they've got different scenarios in the core book and everything. And they just came out with the physical copy of their English rule book. So so I can't wait to play that. That's got some nice and it's throwing d6s. So it's and that's what I like about Oathmark 2 is d6s. What else? We're also talking about. So I want to play some Silver Bayonet, but I don't have anyone with a force for that. What else has kind of been rolling around? There's just a couple of sets like Hobgoblin. I can't wait to try those rules. And and also there's a kind of World War I kind of trench style, and also the Morkborg skirmish game, the Forbidden Psalm, and then the Last War, which is just a kind of a different setting for those rules. I really want to try both of those, and I have models and stuff to use for it, but just haven't been able to put it together yet. But yeah, once we get kind of up to 1,000 points, or I guess we're 1,000 now. Once we get up to 2,000 points and both have 2,000 point armies for Oathmark, then we'll maybe branch out with some other stuff. Oh yeah, Matt, this is the Memorial Day weekend, so Matt is off on holiday. So yeah, we are skipping our usual session, our Vaesen session this week. No Matt. Nice. Oh yeah. Yeah, good idea, Kevin. I need new badges. John asked me, so now I'm going to ask John to make some badges for my channel. Nice. Oh, thanks, K5. Yeah, this is my my shirts I did for my my comic book, which still I need to finish that story. But the pandemic knocked me out of going to shows, so it demotivated me from kind of continuing the next issue or the next part of the story. So I haven't been making comics for a while. Nice. Oh, cool. So your fleets are for Great War at Sea. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's right. Yeah, but Infinity is so sexy. I can't believe the British reviewers and stuff. They're just like, oh, those early models, I can't put those on the table. It's crazy. Yeah, okay, so just stay away from every Spanish and Italian-made game, because there might be a little sexuality. They might enjoy the female form. They don't want to have everything be pear-shaped power armor just to satisfy your insecurities. Yeah, it's brutal. Oh, so seriously need to expand my Oathmark dwarves. Oh, nice. Hey, Scott, how's it going? So seriously need to find an opponent. Nice. Well, if you're based in Japan, you can you can visit us. But I really like the dwarves. I mean, I was reluctant because when I saw it was dwarves with bows, like dwarven archers, I'm like, there's no black powder in Oathmark. But it's not crossbows, but dwarves work well, and I'm kind of doing a corrupted dwarf, so I'm doing this like combined dwarf goblin force, so it's a very corrupted terrible army. So yeah, we're fighting dark elves, icy dark elves, and kind of corrupted dwarves. So it's been fun, and we're doing it so gradually. So the last time was 750, so this is going to be 1,000 point army, and I think we're going to stick to 4x4 for this, because still 1,000 isn't that big. But I think once we're up to 2,000, then we'll do the full table size, because then there'll be enough armies to actually get moving around. Yeah, Matt's doing the normie thing, family, holiday, Memorial Day type stuff. Nice. I know. No idealized miniatures. Nothing even slightly attractive. It has to be. That's what I have no idea why they chose that route, but why can Games Workshop not make a pretty face on a female model? Now there's this push to have, like the Stormcast Eternals have, mixed gender. So, not unlike Space Marine. So they're starting to add a lot more female models, and the faces are just ugly hags. I mean, you could kind of, when they desexualized their Slanesh stuff and covered took away the slimmed down on the nipple count for Slanesh, and then uglied up their face. It's like, okay, so they're kind of demon hags, whatever. But the Sisters of Battle, the Adeptus Sororitas, is so ugly. Just, it's really weird. And not even in any of the promotional stuff, the artwork, the animation, they have attractive faces, but the models themselves, most of them are so viciously, just it's weird. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's like a deliberate choice, so that, I don't know. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know what the problem is, but there's plenty of people willing to do, head replacements for Games Workshop if you want some actually decent looking models. But that's the thing. Yeah, I don't understand. I don't know what that take is and what they're avoiding. But probably, the same thing that the people reacted to with Infinity. It's like, oh my God, it's a beautiful woman. I can't put that on the table. I'm so uncomfortable. Yeah, very strange. Yeah, everything's catering to a minimum common. Yeah, this strange vocal minority. Oh, and that's right, the Dove commercial, the taking off the battle armor. Yeah, because girls couldn't, what was that weird stat that they dropped? Like 70% of girls can't relate to video games because they don't see themselves in there. Okay, well, yeah. I guess I haven't played many Japanese games because it's all, different types of very Western looking characters. It's very strange. Yeah, that was a really weird move, and it's just but Dove has been doing that for a while, the body image thing, but it's a weird thing to attack video games. I wonder if depending on what happens with the American election and things, well, both sides are loving their targets, so I wonder if video games are going to come back under fire, if they can make a connection again to video games and some kind of mental illness or social problem or another like mass shooting or whatever. It feels like video games are due for another. Actually, no, I think I just saw that. I think there was one of the conservative kind of pundits came out and said something against manga and video games, saying that it's like softening a generation of men or whatever. So there's the conservative coming back to point a finger to blame some industries. So maybe the video games is always a good target. They just love that. So it's bad for body image, and it demotivates you if you're a young man. Yeah, there was a whole thing, a politician in Japan. I think it was like in the Diet, like it was it was essentially like equivalent of like a congressman or whatever, or a parliament member, had this public statement where he was saying that manga in Japan was turning boys gay, so he wanted to ban it, or at least censor it, so control the content. That was and of course he was probably a octogenarian, but so some super old Japanese politician is making some weird claims, but. Yeah, that was a while ago. That was like 10 years ago, but I'm sure that's still floating around in the Japanese political minds. But we'll see. The red pill cesspool trying to bring back the the 1900s lifestyle. Yeah, that's that traditional. That's gonna be, that is a really weird thing. I think people will forget that, like when because of maybe just the same way that like maybe in the 90s, the AM radio like became very conservative across most of like the Midwest in America. So a lot of Midwestern just kind of working class people were listening to some real conservative talk radio, like Rush Limbaugh and stuff that kind of started to make them vote for conservative candidates and even in local elections. But and now it's happening on the internet where there's like these young, funny, red pill conservatives, or just like people that are just speaking, attracting an audience, and then they're going to have that shift. Like they're already talking about traditional family values, and they're going to have that big shift. Oh yeah, you forgot what Republicans are like. Here you go, the full thing where, church groups protesting movies and all of that'll come back. Old 80s style, and maybe D&D will be back in the chopping block for its demonic content. And Miguel is all for the 1900s. Yeah, 1900s Japan. Yeah. Much nicer. Yeah, if you could just get a little bit before, like bubble Japan would be a great place to be living. But post gas attack Japan. Yeah, so the death at birth over the roof, 60-year-olds being your average life. Yeah, right. No modern medicine or comforts like air conditioning. Yes, and no YouTube. That would be the best part of it. We'd have to actually, to express opinions, meet face to face and risk being punched in the face for our opinions instead of just being able to shout them on YouTube. Yeah, it's very funny. Yeah, I don't know though. Japan's gotten so miserable in the summertime. Japan without air conditioning in the summer would be pretty brutal. I mean, I think all of my books would just be potato chip shaped. Everything would be so humid and warm. Everything would just curl up. Yeah, that's the one thing. I think probably a lot of Asia has the wet, muggy weather and heavy rains. It's not great for collecting paper-based things, books and board games and stuff. Take a beating. There's a lot of mildew and a lot of stuff creeping around here that I never had to deal with before. Nice. Well, it was great to see everyone. Thanks for being in the chat. Yeah, good to see you, Abyss. Yeah, we got to get Mournblade. We got to thanks for sharing the PDF, and we have to we should get on Discord and do a session of that, or even like Albert Rodeo or a simple VTT, and just throw up some images from the PDF. But we should try that out. That would be really fun. So if we can find some good scheduling, we should try to do something like that. Matt's a big Elric fan, so Matt is all into playing some Mournblade. So if you're up for it, Abyss, we should find some time. And anyone that's regular in the chat too, if we can all coordinate to find a good time to be on Discord, we should give that a shot. It's an interesting system. I like I'm curious about how it plays. All right. So what is going on here? I'll make sure. Yeah, my oh, there we go. They're just in the wrong window. Cool. Well, very good. Oh yeah, Warzone. That's right. Yeah. I haven't. I checked back. I think it's like kind of frozen at 130K. I mean, Knave gets $500,000 to produce a single book, and Warzone Eternal can't even break 200K. Jesus. Yeah, and I guess after the second attempt, they're just gonna have to face that there's not enough interest, and there's already too much. There's all the miniatures from Modiphius, all the miniatures from Protoss, and then all of the old metal stuff that's still around. It's really hard to get the ball rolling with Warzone, which is a shame. That's a real heartbreaker. Yeah, thanks Miguel for reminding me. It's got to be, and it's got to have not that much left. They're at least halfway through, and I think they're kind of stuck. And people are and that's the thing that's a really bad sign, is when they are up and up and up, and then they stagnate, and then they just kind of go up and down, slightly over this various level. I think they're like at 135,000 or something, and they just go above, below. So that means people are downgrading their pledges. And people in the comments have even said, I went all in on BattleTech, mercenaries. So, and the numbers, people are actually stating the numbers they went in on some of these previous campaigns. Somebody said $1,200 on the Protoss Warzone Resurrection. Yeah, so some people went in really hard on previous versions. So maybe that makes them a little more reluctant because they didn't get quite the support. The game didn't have the same support. 1 week to go. Yeah. They're and people have said this in the comments, they're not doing the FOMO thing. If you want to get people excited about a game, you can't say, we're a small company, we want funding. You know, if you pledge as much as possible, that means there's a future for this game and we'll get supported and we'll build our company. That is not interesting. You've got to say, here's an exclusive, the only time we're ever going to produce this special edition of this rule book. Here's a one model we're never going to be producing again if you don't pledge this level of the Kickstarter. They got to do the FOMO stuff and generate that, because people are just, even if it's ugly and it's a stupid thing to have to deal with, that's what generates the momentum, you know, of Kickstarters. And the first time they did it, they didn't even have a rule book. You know, they didn't even have like a hardcover legitimate rule book. It was basically a, you know, like a softcover pamphlet. So yeah, they really it's really a shame, because the models are looking so much better this time around. But I don't know how far to go in on it. But I mean, there's multiple rule sets, and if I did, you know, I could replace all of the metal miniatures now again with plastic, or I guess they're Ceocast or whatever, with resin miniatures for blood berets. I think I've had like 3 sets now of miniatures for blood berets. But yeah, it is a real tragedy, because I mean that's such a great setting. It's just, I don't know if they were the best, you know, people to do it, because I think something as big as that world and as established as that is, needs somebody to come in with some money. You know, kind of like the company that did the Chronopia. They came in and just said, we're going to do it as big as we can, and we're not going to be, you know, kind of like, please help us out. And they're not going to make it feel like a charity. They're going to say, get some cool stuff, and here it is, and we're going to, you know, go as big as we can, depending on how much we get supported. So yeah, what did they end up finishing? Let me just do a quick look up. Sorry to be what did they end up finishing at? So Chronopia did oh yeah, how do we go? There's the campaign. Oh well, yeah, Chronopia only did 57,000 that's euros, so maybe like over 60,000, and they did it. Like they are totally, I mean, they haven't fulfilled yet, but they did cards and tokens and everything in a really nice range of stuff. So they didn't, you know, even break 6 figures, and they still completely went through with it. And as soon as they fulfill, then we'll see what their retail looks like. But yeah, it should just be a jumpstart for producing this thing with a ton of extras that are going to reward the people for being in early. And I don't think anything feels like that with Warzone Eternal. It's a shame. It's a shame, because they did much better this time. I mean, they got a much better response, but now they know that's exactly how many people are into it. Yeah, but they do. It needs to be on all social media. Every wargaming site needs to be wrapped, you know, with promotion for that game. You need to be seeing nothing but Warzone Eternal, because, you know, you have looming, you got to distract people, because you have looming 10th edition 40K, and there's like so many things. What's the other, there's one more big thing coming out that people would be saving their money for, and you've got to get those people distracted and say, yeah, but this is your only chance to get this, so do this now. And they're just not. It's, and the comments are like, everything is like, well, think about it. That's a good idea. We'll think about, we'll consider doing something that we'll think about. You should have already had that all figured out. You know, this shouldn't be a, well, we're still kind of figuring out and play testing. And yeah, it should be much further along. Yeah, I mean, so Miguel said, I think you could get $250,000 if they promoted it. Yeah, if they went hard and made it something you didn't want to miss. You know, fear of missing out on there's something they're only doing for the campaign. There's nothing that's exclusive to the campaign. They did the promo miniature, you know, within the first 48 hours or 72 hours they had but now that, of course, that's an add-on as well. But they didn't do anything that they're never going to do again, because they just don't know what they're doing. Like they just don't know what they're going to do. So, you know, they don't want to do anything like that. And people are complaining there should be tokens in the starter boxes. Like, there's so many things that they could be doing to make it more compelling. But, yeah. Yes. Warzone is just doomed. Yeah, the IP transfer and reboot every 5 to 10 years. And nobody has kept nobody's kept the game alive for very long. Yeah, that's a very good point. It's got, yeah, it's funny. It's such a fun world, and I was so happy that Modifius was supporting it, even though they made their changes to the setting, but that Modifius was supporting the RPG, and they brought back Siege of the Citadel, so it was good to see a refresh on that. But yeah, there's something about it that keeps and I wonder what and I guess you're trying to please older fans of the previous versions of it, plus you're trying to move into the future, and it doesn't seem like they can attract new people. Without the big promotion and advertising, they're not attracting new people. Yeah, good point. Soviet gnome. Excellent. Thanks for being in the chat. Nice. It seems like they're going to make more models regardless of the Kickstarter success at this point. Yeah, I hope so. That's great. I mean, I definitely want to buy updated Warzone. I'm not sure about the rules though. I'm definitely going in for a rule book, I think. But I wanted to be much more committed, much more involved. But I just there's some models that are just okay. I don't think they did a great job with the Capital models. I don't think anybody liked the Capital faction. Capital looks a little shit. There's no football helmets. There's no there's a lot of stuff missing. In the look of Capital, it's a little genericized, but I like what the Brotherhood looks like. But I'm not sure if the rules are they're doing that weird thing where the Brotherhood isn't a legitimate force. It's just something you can take if you are white light points or dark points or whatever. If they're still doing that, then both the Algaroth, the Dark Legion, and the Brotherhood are kind of these extra forces. They're not their own freestanding army unless they did that. Yeah. Abis said, War Machine is a good example of how fast something can die. Yeah, that's true. They've got a new edition. That's true. Yeah, they've got a completely new edition of War Machine, and I haven't heard anything about it. And they even tried to do their that was Privateer Press, right? They're trying to do their like harder sci-fi game, and that didn't go anywhere. Yeah, games die very quickly. Wargaming, I think that's true. Wargaming is a fragile space. So I guess you do have to give credit to Games Workshop for their longevity. They've had rough patches, but they've kept dominant, and they've kept publishing their games in a space where people can just walk away. Yeah, and I love that setting. I was just reading the old the original introduction of the Iron Kingdoms, the RPG books that Privateer Press for the D20 system that they first published to introduce the Iron Kingdoms. I was just reading that book, and it's like, wow, this is a great setting. It'd be fun to play this original version, before they had it completely fleshed out, because it was such a fun idea. It was like, this is fantasy, but there's steampunk, and there's black powder and weird magic, and introducing that into fantasy and then doing a war game based on that. That was great. Yeah, that's a shame. And it's too bad, because they transitioned out of the mixed metal and resin. They were all plastic. Now they've got a new edition. And sorry, I think but people were saying the frustration, they kind of their releases kind of got screwed up, and they were having problems and kind of frustrating game stories. So maybe that's why their second version isn't doing so good. I'm guessing you've already covered it, but Tales of the Valiant isn't exactly going gangbusters, is it? I gotta believe that they're looking for a bigger start. Oh wow, yeah. I mean that may be true. I'm not sure. Like I know of Kobold Press. I don't own I don't think any of their stuff, but they're a pretty big scale publisher. So I was impressed by 500,000. But yeah, if they are looking at, because you're looking at board game campaigns that are millions. So I wonder if I saw that as pretty positive, but I was comparing it to Knave, so it's not. That's a single book. This is 2 books. So that's that might be a good point. That it's big, but it's not as big as they want. It's not going to keep them in people's. That doesn't mean that they have as much support as whatever Wizards is going to be doing. No, that's a good. That's good. That's a good point. That it might be a scale. Oh, hey, Hey, Matt has become a member. What's going on? All right. Oh, thanks, Abyss. Oh, thank you. Thank you for gifting. Yeah, Matt's membership must have lapsed, so thank you for keeping Matt subscribed. Nice. So we'll have to. That's his Memorial Day gift, right? Iron Kingdoms RPG have done well on Kickstarter, at least. Oh yeah, that's true. That they're definitely keeping that alive. Yeah, they're keeping that going. Yeah, I like that setting. I really, yeah, I think that's good. I wonder what it is. Oh, and the Mishima, yeah, the Shinobi, yeah, Miguel, yeah, I think they didn't do, yeah. I don't know. I'm not crazy about all of the models, but the Praetorians are awesome. Yeah, the Stalkers are good. The Nephirite looks kind of weird. I can't tell I guess his scale must be pretty big, but the way that they did the render, he looks a little like weird, and his proportions look a little messed up. I don't think they nailed the illustration exactly. But yeah, there's a few models I want to pick up. I like the Brotherhood models. I like the Dark Legion. I like the Algaroth. The Praetorians are good, and I like what they did with the Legionnaires and the Necromutants. But we'll see. Hey, Abyss, thank you for the. Oh no, yes, I was gifted a membership. Thank you, Abyss. How do Matt and I? What's going on with us? We must be. We're in there. So thank you. I appreciate your donation. That is Miguel's. I'm right here. I wonder why does it do that? I don't understand why it. That's very strange. So, yeah. I have no idea. Sorry, Miguel. This is insane. It's insane. You are on some kind of mysterious YouTube blacklist. No free memberships for Miguel. That's very funny. Yeah, clearly it is not random. Yes, you're right, Abyss. It just, it's very strange. And yeah, because Matt is a mod, so maybe it just starts with mods on the channel. I have no idea. That's really weird. It gives memberships to. Yeah. Yes, I know you're on that FBI list. Yeah, that's something we can't really overlook. And you own all those racist warships, those problematic warships from World War II, because historical gaming is just not okay. Yeah, I really don't get those guys that get the big following and then just have those bad takes. Yeah, I really wonder what. Thank you, Abyss. I really appreciate the donated memberships. Yeah, Abyss is saying some old metal models are pretty cool. Yeah, my personal favorite was the old Deathmaster Stitch model. Oh, and Emperor's Champion. Yeah. Oh yeah, there's some great. Yeah, the Heartbreaker. I love a lot of those old Heartbreaker models. Yeah, I replaced some of my Blood Berets now is all metal Heartbreaker models, both the Bauhaus, the Venetian Rangers, and Blood Berets, because they did those alternate rules in one of the supplements, so you can play either in Blood Berets. So yeah, I replaced everything with metal, and I was like, I should do everything in the updated Warzone, the Res Nova. That would be cool. It'd just be fun to paint, that'd just be fun to have new stuff to paint. Yeah, and I think they're trying to split the difference between an updated look, an updated more kind of stale look, and also the kind of the mixed gender thing that they're doing with all the forces. Although it's a big difference, I think, between 40K and the Mutant Chronicles setting, the Warzone setting, is it was always mixed gender. Like there were a lot of named characters and stuff that were women in that original setting. They didn't have the male dominated kind of thing that early Rogue Trader and stuff had. So yeah, that's funny. Oh, they haven't. There you go. There's another thing. They're just not paying attention to that sort of thing. Yeah, they should definitely have a tabletop simulator. They should have that. I think that would be a really successful way to give people a taste of the rules. You could trap them in a tabletop simulator package, so you wouldn't have to give away the free rules, but let people try the rules out, have that digital rule book in Tabletop Simulator, and be able to try the game out. That's a good, that's a very good point, Soviet Gnome, that they didn't take advantage of stuff like that. I mean, everybody is trying out war games and doing sample setups for Tabletopia and Tabletop Simulator. They're letting you try the game out digitally. Yeah, well, that's a good point. Yeah, well, there will be people will be, as soon as that book is released in the wild, people put together stuff for Tabletop Simulator. Yeah, that's the my friend Nick that does a lot of Infinity. He's got a painting channel that's doing really well on Twitch. Does a lot of Infinity painting, and he actually took his painted models and went through the process of photographing them at the multiple angles to put them in as assets to Tabletop Simulator, so he can play Infinity in Tabletop Simulator with his actual models, like photographs of his actual models. I think he's on Zombie Sashimi on YouTube. He did a tutorial about how you have to do that. It sounds a little labor intensive, but the results are beautiful. Like, they're the actual models. Like, you've got 360s of your models in Tabletop instead of that flat, the kind of standee look. That's cool. Yeah, there's so many things that I don't know who they're talking to, or I don't know, what it is if they just don't have somebody. If they're trying to reach a new audience, they've got to do those. Well, I think the collaboration with Secret Cow Level doing the digital Doom Trooper cards, that's trying to get more people connected to what's going on with that world. But it seems so minimal. They're not reaching out enough, and they're saying that they've sent demo kits to people. I've seen no YouTubers, like, people have posted their painting of so they sent out some sample miniatures, but they said they sent out some demo kits or something. I've seen nobody play the rules. I mean, we got to play Chronopia during that Kickstarter, and nobody sent out rules to any. And there's so many channels and so many people that love to eat that up and get people excited about. Nobody's making Warzone Eternal content, and during the campaign, that seems insane. They're throwing away. All they have to do is send a demo kit and some base rules and a demo kit, and they could get so much free advertising and promotion for hungry board game channels. But they didn't. No free stuff. Yeah, Miguel, they said no free stuff for you. Yeah, I was surprised. I didn't reach back out, but I talked to Alex during the first before the first campaign, and didn't hear anything back. So I don't know what. I'm surprised. It's just, I mean, you definitely have to get that buzz going, that thing that goes beyond, what you're capable of doing, and it's all free then. Once you get that word of mouth going, and once you get people going, crazy on social media about something, or just building some enthusiasm for it. There's a lot of enthusiasm in the Kickstarter comments, but that's about it. And the Facebook group, but it's got to go beyond that, because that is that's a pretty restricted group of people. But I just understand, and they were always, because I just didn't get any real positive response. I mean, I had both for the Chronopia campaign. I had both the designer and the lore expert, both Martin and Ilias, were available to just talk to me about what they were doing, and so super friendly and super warm, and kept in contact afterwards. And I talked to Resnova, and just nothing. Yeah, and I guess the rules guy, Brian Steele, was posting on his YouTube channel, but his YouTube channel is tiny. He's minuscule. I mean, maybe he's a well-established writer, but he doesn't get a lot of action on his channel. So if he talks about Warzone, people then post a link to that in the Warzone Facebook group, that Warzone Eternal, and that's it. It doesn't make the rounds. Yeah. So I don't know. It's a shame. They did a much better job this time, and they got a much better total, so hopefully they're going to go for it. I mean, I haven't seen the rules, so I can't make any sort of judgments. The rule book looks fine. The little sample, the little preview, it looks fine, but I'd love to see the full rule set and see, how they modernized it now, because Brian was supposed to be the good choice because he did kind of the spiritual successor. What the heck was that called? But the game that he did as the for Fantasy Flight, I think that was a spiritual successor of where the Warzone rules were going. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen it, and I didn't like that when they initially talked about the light and dark choice that you make for your corporation, and then you can include other units. I don't know how that's going to work, and I'd love to see that. And of course, they're not. You have to buy it. You have to pledge it. Not even buy it. You have to pledge. You have to donate and wait. Who knows how many months to see the actual rules. We'll see. Somebody goes saying, yeah, I think 250K is not out of reach, but if they spent this last week screaming Warzone all over the place, yeah, do a social media campaign, because you can definitely target like all those buys for social media. You can just say War Gamers and yeah, get it going. Yeah, YouTube is too small. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, just blow it out on every just everywhere advertising is going to be following you on websites and everywhere. Just get it, because Knave was popping up for me, the Knave 2nd edition, on every social media site I went to. I was getting ads for Knave. So yeah, it you got to put some money out there. Maybe they just don't know. Yeah, they don't know where to put it, and they're being conservative again. Less than last time, but they're being conservative again. But they get the core excited. So we'll see. I just hope it doesn't go down. I hope they like hit 200K and we see the game around for a while. Yeah, and if they're not doing anything, so that's the other thing is I don't feel like I'm going to miss anything if I don't go in and back a bunch of stuff, because if they are planning a retail launch, which they weren't last time, if they are planning a retail launch, all that stuff should be available after the fact. So yeah, difficult. Yeah, it's hard to get excited. Yeah, they really should let YouTubers make content before the Kickstarter even started. Yes. Yeah, they should have reached out. I mean, I thought we had a good good interview. I thought we did. We do so much. We did so much Mutant Chronicles content on this channel. We already have people here that are looking for that content. So if we, had that kind of support, yeah. And I feel and kind of after talking to them too, that's why I did the audiobook stuff over the holidays and stuff, but I felt like, okay, I have no idea if I'm stepping on their toes, doing any more content for the channel. So that's why things like Mutant Chronicle wise, things have been kind of quiet. Modifius dropped the license, so the RPG is dead. The 3rd edition of the RPG is dead. And now Resnova is back. I don't want to step on their toes. I don't know what they're doing lore wise or anything. If they could contact me, I would love to make videos for them, just getting people excited about the setting again. That's really weird. Yeah, I don't know why there isn't. Yeah, that's a good point, Soviet. The should be a full rule set out there so we have some idea. That's the big question mark. That's the big thing. And maybe they're just worried that it's not that's gonna create a lot of complaints, and so they just don't want to do that. They don't want to release that, but they could be releasing it with NDAs or the what is it called, that just you can't talk about it until a certain date. You can only talk about it publicly until after the campaign. You can start after the campaign and release the full rules so people can be at least somewhat positive. Yeah, so it's too bad, but there's some good looking stuff, and I definitely want to see those rules. So it will just happen. Yes, say it's just a draft. That's right. Have we learned nothing? Wizards has taught every company that's what you do. You release rules and people are like, oh, these suck. Oh, that was first draft. No, that was not. Oh, no, you don't understand. That was not even close to what we wanted to do. You didn't like that, right? Okay, well, yeah, that's not those aren't the real rules. Yeah, that's true. It isn't the recipe for Coca-Cola. That is very true. Very cool. Well, thanks everyone for watching. I appreciate the fun in the chat. Yeah, it's too bad Chris can't stay longer. This would be a fun thing to do with more people. We should figure out, maybe do some Discord calls or something, because we got the kind of the bugs worked out when I had Matt on the live stream before. So maybe we should do some like Discord calls or something at this portion, so it's just not me talking at a text chat. Something like that would be fun. Very cool. All right. So yeah, thanks so much. And we'll be back next week doing the same thing. Keep an eye on everything. Yeah, as we get close to the end. So yeah, we'll talk about Warzone Eternal again at the end, especially if there's any development. And hopefully that does well, or that it has already done well enough. Yeah, we'll see. But yes, viewer call-ins. Yes, Abyss. Yeah, that would be really fun. And we'll get to see like what time it is all over the world. That'll be funny. The people's dark or sunny windows will tell us everything. All right. So everybody take care, and yeah, we'll be back again next week. So thanks for watching, and see you next time. Goodbye.